My goodness, I am just like smiling from ear to ear because it is such a dream and such a joy to be sitting looking at you right now, knowing having known you. Oh God, we've been in each other's orbit for like 12 years or something crazy, like blogging days,
Yep.
dude. Blogging days when your eldest was just a little baby, like
Yep.
crazy. And now you've got two teenagers.
Yep.
And you have this incredible company that you have founded and grown. And I know every single guest I've spoken to, like we've all said it, this year has been a huge fucking year. And
Huge.
I know for you, especially like personally and professionally, it's been a huge year.
Yep.
What can you tell us about your year?
I don't think I could have predicted this year from the start, to be
I
so
don't think this
honest
year
with
was on
you.
anybody's bingo card. Like nothing that has
I
happened this year was on
know.
anyone's bingo card.
Honestly, and we all do it every year. We're like, all right, we get to the end and we're like, oh, next year's going to be dot, dot, dot. And I just think maybe as a collective, we should all say that's the moment when it becomes the year that you couldn't possibly predict, happens. But yeah, that's been the year for me, to be so honest. Like I've just gone through some, yeah, major life events. I had a really big surgery much earlier in the year that I think I underestimated the recovery for. So it's been a hysterectomy to treat endometriosis lifelong. And then while they were in there, they found something called adenomyosis. So that explained a lot. And so, yes, huge, but I'm a founder. So I'm not going to lie, the rest post surgery isn't quite the same. Definitely returned, I would say, in hindsight, too soon. And yeah, just spent a longer time recovering because of that. Found myself, in full perimenopause post surgery. And so, just, yeah, this year has been absolutely massive for me. I've had to sit down and explain to my husband and my two kids for the first time. They can't recognize grumpiness in me. I'm the one you want to hang around in a crisis. Like I'm frustratingly optimistic and, definitely an energy raiser. But I've had to explain mum's really tired, or to my husband, I'm tired. I have to go to bed early these days. And I can be grumpy sometimes. The mood swings are just unpredictable and so on. So it's been huge. I've had to sort of re-figure out myself in this, yeah, new chapter at age 42.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I'm 41, so I'm only like slightly behind you.
Yeah.
And as someone who's just ahead of me, like, and for anyone who's listening as well, who's on the cusp of perimenopause or like knocking at the door, like, what sort of changes have you experienced? Because I know that was brought on really suddenly because of the major surgery that you had. And so all of a sudden you're thrust into peri. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What have you personally experienced?
Yeah, it has almost been a gaslighting, to be so honest. Not to sound dramatic, but I just keep saying that to my husband because I definitely have always thought, I think I'm intelligent. I believe that I'm an intelligent woman. And there have been so many times this year where I've Googled signs of early onset Alzheimer's or dementia. The brain fog is such a gaslight. You really are really concerned for yourself, and it's confusing and unsettling. You don't trust yourself as much anymore. The fatigue, definitely the irritability that comes out of nowhere. You can go from, excuse me, like 0 to 1,000 so fast. And again, if I'm the resident optimist at my home and like the energy raiser, my husband's been like, oh, how did we get here? Are we really losing it over dot dot dot? And I'm like, I am, yeah, the emotions, for me as well, post hysterectomy, it was saying goodbye to a system that was so predictable for me as a woman, the cycle. I knew who I was from week 1 to week 4. So saying goodbye to that, I underestimated how big that was going to be for me. I had a particular week that was a favorite of mine that I used to do more of my do, in, and I just it's been so difficult there as well. So the list could go on and on, but I can only say that almost everything has changed. I'm just refiguring out who I am in this era. Yep.
Yeah, and I can imagine like, without realizing it, you think I've just got to heal from surgery. But what you don't realize is, first of all, how fucking huge that is in itself,
Yeah,
like recovering, healing. And then also, I'm grieving an identity, a version of myself that will never, ever exist ever again for the rest of my life. That
that
has been
is,
in your life for 41, 42
yes,
years. And
yeah,
now she no longer exists, and now you're someone new, essentially. And
yeah,
you're in this portal. Like I know perimenopause and menopause is very much a portal. It's a transition, whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
But like, how fucking hard is the grieving process? Are you still in it? Do you feel like you're still grieving? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for naming the grief as well, by the way, because that's the thing. And we don't have enough people who've gone before us who've been vocal about this. We are, I think, the first vocal generation with regards to this. And thank God for us. Thank God for the internet. Thank God that we just talk so openly so that hopefully, women that will come after us have resources because yeah, it's a genuine grief. I've tried to focus on the positives, especially around endo and adenomyosis, that pain and that severe pain ruled my life from the very first period. And so each month I just hold a little celebration where I'm not doubled over on the lounge room floor, praying to everything that even exists to please take the pain away. So I try to focus on parts of celebration to help with the grief, but the grief is still absolutely there.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to acknowledge because on one of the other episodes, I interviewed my amazing friend Tara Rollo, who is a Vedic astrologer, and she has a podcast called Star Being, and she interviewed the incredible Jane Hardwick Collins, who has done so much work around womanhood.
Mm.
And in that particular episode, they talked about these transition points of a woman's life, which is, like menarche when we get our first period, and then, when we become mothers, and then when we go through perimenopause and menopause, and then eventually, obviously, death. And it's like these moments of our life, and especially for those of us, like you said, thank God for millennials and thank God for the internet. And like, and it's so funny you say that because I have been saying we are the pioneering generation
Yep,
of talking about all of this shit out in the
yep.
open. And thank God for us
Mhm.
because yeah, we are having these conversations, I think, because like we haven't had any resources or anyone else talking about this ahead of us. So we're coming into this going, holy shit, like we are
Yep,
living this, experiencing it. And yeah, just on Jane's teachings is like around this time of our life in particular, when we are heading into peri, is like this is a portal, but it's a time that should really be acknowledged
yes,
because it's like it's happening to you whether you like it or not. And
yep,
for a lot of us, we go through these points of our life without being held, without being supported, without being acknowledged, without being celebrated.
yes.
And I just think like we really need to pick up these moments and hold them in reverence for what they are. And
I
that's why I
genuinely
really
agree.
wanted to talk
Yeah.
about this with you.
Yes, no, I couldn't agree more. And I'm so, like you say, like I said as well, I'm so glad we're here and we're doing this. And, if we're normalizing like divorce parties, which by the way, I love, I've been to so many this year and it's so fun. Um, let's celebrate, yeah, the portal. Absolutely, the transitions.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. And I love that because there's this one particular video going around on Instagram at the moment that a lot of my friends are sharing. And it's about not just celebrating the weddings and the babies, it's celebrating like our own moments of like when we've decided to honor ourselves rather than abandon ourselves, when we've
Yes.
left a shitty relationship, when we've, let go of a crappy job, or we've made a really positive, life affirming, empowering decision for ourselves. Like, let's celebrate all of these moments
Yes.
and really acknowledge them for the power they hold.
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
yeah,
yes.
so good, right? So, so
Yeah.
good. So I'm really curious to know this new chapter of you, this new chapter of Cherie. She is like emerging. She is, stepping forward. And I know that like it was given a huge fucking shove because
Yes.
surgery.
Yes.
So can I ask, like, what can you see really clearly that you have had to let go of or has been taken away from you? But also, what are you really stepping into and claiming for yourself now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. I think I have recognized that I'm obviously running on less energy than my norm. So I have to be really protective about what drains my energy. And I'm loving this chapter for me because I've recognized that even within my friendship circle, for example, I had some people who are really draining my energy, and I have actually just let them go, and it feels really good. I got to this point where I was so bloody sick of hyper explaining myself to people who were committed to misunderstanding me. I just have not got the energy, and I had it all throughout my 30s, and right up until, this year. I think I still had the energy for that, which is wild. I wish I gave this up sooner. And so I've recently sort of said goodbye to a friendship that just felt like that. And I feel no grief. I feel, if anything, it's just been a huge restoration of energy. I love that I'm setting an example for my daughter as well, that she hopefully doesn't take until 42 to figure this out as well. And I'm trying to explain to her, if you've got a friendship that makes you feel really bad all the time, or like you have to constantly explain yourself, that's not a healthy friendship. And so, yeah, I'm loving that era, and I'm loving just being so hyper aware of what gives energy, what takes away. And I guess it's helped me do a bit of a life audit. And so, yeah, to finish out, like on that second part of your question, I think I'm just stepping into, I guess I say this jokingly, but there are parts of it that are true, but a real villain era, era for myself. I am okay, so completely okay with being disliked, because I've recognized the people who head into that dislike space were the people who are benefiting from me being a bit of a pushover, and yeah, I'm loving, if this is villain status, well, I absolutely accept it. I've got a beautiful team member at work who gave me a villain candle at the start of this year, Disney villain, something like that. And I'm just going to burn it, because if I'm in my villain era, I can tell you and your whole community that are listening, villains are kind, they're just misunderstood, so yeah, I'm loving this era for myself.
Oh, I love it. From pushover to powerhouse. Like, let's fucking go.
Love that.
So good, so good. And I mean, I feel like that's a really important point to make, because I love that you acknowledge that, friendships especially, some of them do just eventually like run their course,
Yep.
because, they're here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, like the saying goes. But also, I think that this is such a pivotal time in our lives where we really do like just let go of a whole heap of fucks. And
Oh,
and we recognize things for what they are, because
yep.
like what you were just saying, I was just thinking about it myself. I'm just thinking about all the people that are in my orbit, like from my inner circle out, and how many of those people are benefiting from me, like basically just like abandoning myself and like
Yes.
meeting their needs ahead of my own, me doing what I think is making them happy and being the version they want me to be, because they're getting some kind of gain out of that. And
Absolutely. There's always moments as well, like you can pick it where you abandoned yourself and you should have picked it at that point. But then you just, in this example, I remember sending a text message to this person, and I was already hyper explaining myself, and very unnecessarily so. So too much energy given already. And then the text I got back was just like, yeah, I knew you would do this, something to that effect. And I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I actually just, the abandonment felt too obvious. And I was like, I'm good. And it wasn't even dramatic. I didn't
yeah,
say the friendship is over. I just stopped immediately,
yeah.
with that person. And now, it's just run its course, like you say.
Yeah. And I think that's a really powerful example to give, because sometimes to end a friendship is just literally you just pull back your energy. You just call back your
Yeah.
energy, you bring it back into yourself, and you just seal it off. You seal
Yep.
off that exit portal there. Is like,
Yep.
no, 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 you don't get any more of this anymore. And that's just like, that can just be a very quiet but solid decision you make for yourself that you don't need to broadcast
Yes.
externally in any way, and it's just a decision you make. It's an energetic, like calling back, sealing off,
Yep.
sovereignty moment. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Honestly, that.
love
Yes.
it. I love that. I love that. I've done the same thing very recently when somebody told me for the second time that
Mm.
she didn't know how to be my friend. She did not know how to support me because I have had a really, really tough year this year. Probably like my worst mental health year on record. And that is like including post spinal surgery, age 15, when I rang Kids Helpline wanting to kill myself because,
I
the whole world was
remember.
passing me by and I was trying to recover. Yeah, I felt like I was being left behind. That was probably like my top two moment. And
Yes.
this year has just been like an extended version of that, where it has just been so hard, so tough. So when, like sometimes when we are in such a vulnerable state where things have gone wrong out of our control,
Mm.
like our way of like self-preservation and safety is like, I know me personally, I'll withdraw.
Yep.
I'll withdraw. I'll take a step back because I am going through some heavy shit. I'm
Mm.
processing. I'm crying a lot. I'm
Yeah.
not in a I'm not in a bright sunny like because you and I are very similar. We bring the
Very
energy, we
similar.
bring the vibe, like
Yeah.
and then when we're going through something, like we have to pull that back because we
Yep.
need it for ourselves. Like we need it to survive,
But we're
basically.
also so kind that we don't want to take from someone else's energy
No.
while we're just like trying
Like
to stay energetically alive ourselves. And
exactly. It's like when somebody's drowning, the worst thing you can do is jump in and try and save them because they're going to drown you while they're trying to save themselves, right?
literally wrote this the other day on my socials, and I even emailed a client about this. I just said, for me, this year, 2025, has reminded me of this because I grew up in the bush, and my dad always said, if you see someone drowning, don't jump into the body of water. They'll drown you and then themselves by trying to save themselves, right? So the best thing you can do is extend a rope or a branch or whatever it is, right? So yeah, it's just, and coming back to your friends, like saying, I don't know how to support you. I've been teaching my daughter a lot about this. You should not have to teach someone how to be your friend. I say to my daughter all the time, you are so special and such a force and just so good to be around energetically that it shouldn't be your full-time job to teach people how to be your friend. Like that's the easy part. You make it so easy to be your friend because my daughter moves through the world in just, she is not jealous, she is drama free, she's incredible. I know I'm biased, but
No, I
she's really
love her too. I think she's amazing. Like she's
yeah.
such an inspiration to me as well. I'm like, I need 10% more of her in me, please,
Me too,
please.
me too. We all need Frankie Jean energy, but yeah, I just think women and gender diverse folk, like we should not have to teach anyone how to be our friend. You can definitely give a little bullet point list to that friend of, hey, I'm having a really hard year. This is like what supporting me looks like. But teaching how to actually be a friend in a hard time and rather than just for the good times, no,
No, thank you. No,
no.
thank you. Not available for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I love that. I love that it can just be that very quiet but like solid decision that we make for ourselves. And as well, I feel like with the villain thing, it's just such a cool word to use anyway. It's so fun. I love it. But like I can imagine as well, like, okay, friendships aside, you're a
Mm.
founder of an incredible company that has experienced rapid growth this year, especially in terms of team like and you've been navigating all this huge personal stuff as well in the mix of all of this. How have you how has it been for you being at the top in the epicenter, however you want to describe it? You are the heartbeat of the digital picnic. Like you're the lifeblood, you're the heartbeat, and everyone else like, put these around you and performs their roles and makes it all happen. And like I was saying to you just before we hit record, you guys all together are the most phenomenal strand of DNA that exists like out there as a company.
Yeah.
It is
Thank you.
beautiful and magnificent to witness. And I'm so proud of you as a friend
Thank
standing on the
you.
sidelines cheering. How has it been for you
Mm.
being at the epicenter of the company you founded in this year of growth and change and
Yeah.
transition for you personally and the company? How
Yeah.
has that been for you?
Yeah, it has this year especially. It's been lonely, to be so honest, because there's that famous quote where it said that businesses don't go out of business when they run out of money. It's when the founder runs out of energy. And I was like, okay, I really need to be careful of my energy. And the thing is, good luck to anyone who's trying to lead team and expecting that the team is going to give you energy. That's not their job. Nobody's paid enough to be an energy supply to their organizational leader. That's not their job, so I can't expect, anything like that from my team. I don't like hierarchy, but if we're talking structure, I'm at the top, so I don't get mentored by a team or coached or, anything like that. And I guess I just look for smaller ways that they might seem small to others, but I look for really small things that give me energy. And there's so many because I've got a really great team, so I look for, glimpses of, I love kind genius. Like I love geniuses, but I like them to be kind, and I see it every week. And especially in the last 3 months, I've just been seeing an abundance of that and I'm getting a lot of energy from it. So it will seem like the small things, but I guess I would just guide your community to really fall in love with the art of noticing because you gain so much energy from noticing, and so we've brought on this particular team member. I'm sure he won't mind me sharing his name, but his name's Sunny, and much like the name, he's already delivering the sunshine. And it's these micro moments where, when someone starts at our, business, we just want to go straight out to lunch with them and get to know them, so we were just going down a little escalator, and he's become already friends with another member on our team, Eswan. They were going down the escalator together, and he just placed his hands on Eswan's shoulders, and I just loved that. I just noticed it, and I thought, what a loving team I have. Like it's those little moments where I'm like, I'm gonna have energy for months on this one moment, where I've brought this kind, gentle, high performing, try hard man into my team, and he's already making people feel loved and offering love in return. And I could tell you, Sonia, like a gazillion moments like that that exist for me weekly. And I get a lot of energy from them. So I try not to give too much attention to what drains, because believe me, we could have a whole podcast on leading team and how that can, if you're in a tough little spot, it can drain if you're not careful. But they're the moments that just recharge my founder battery for months to come. Sounds really small, but it's really big in my books, so yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's those little things that are the most meaningful and the most powerful. And like you said, the art of noticing, I am huge on that. I'm like, be a curious observer of your own life in whatever circumstances you're in, because that's where the gold is. And
Yeah.
I think what you really said around it's not your team's job to be the energy source for you,
Mm.
but it's them being themselves and them being happy in like showing up to work and what they do and who they work with, and then how they just organically and naturally interact with one another and your clients. Like that's what gives you energy, you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And it
Absolutely.
and it's beautiful because like you've cultivated that environment, you've created that, and you've been tending to it and nurturing it ever since. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I actually take responsibility for that because we were sharing just before today kicked off. I took my time interviewing team here, and we could have moved fast, but anytime I've ever moved fast, especially with recruitment, it's been a fail. I've kissed frogs when I've moved too fast, so I'm looking for Prince and Charming each and every time. That's what we need, that's what we deserve. That's the only thing that will preserve the great culture that we have. So we are so slow with recruitment, but deliberately so, and strategically slow. And thanks to that slowness, we found someone who's also, I would describe Sunny as someone who's got the art of noticing down pat. He's an appreciator and just a grateful soul, and he's just one person on my team, and I can tell you that 31 times over, that's what I have on my team. So that's where I get my energy source.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And I think there's just something to be said. I know for me personally, I really place a lot of emphasis on being appreciated, because if someone appreciates me, I'm going to give more. Like that's just automatic, like life-giving, energy-giving. That's fuel in my tank, right? And it's like the clients that I work with is like they show me time and time again, every single day, every single interaction, how much they appreciate me. And that just makes me want to give more, do better, get better. Like and I love that because I am very much just that. That's who I am naturally. I just think
Yeah.
there is so much to be said for just acknowledging people letting them know that they're seen and they're appreciated, and just in the tiniest little ways, like you said, like,
Mm.
saying thank you or giving a smile or having a little laugh together or a hug or whatever it is, that just goes miles,
Yeah,
especially in business.
it really does, honestly. And I don't think enough leaders actually appreciate people, to be so honest. I don't know what happens at a particular level of leadership, but it's like ego enters the chat. They forget to appreciate, and then they wonder why they're unable to retain team. And I'm like, just be appreciative of what you actually have. Yeah, it's so simple,
I
but
know, right? It reminds me so much of like when music stars become, they're like on their trajectory up and
yeah.
they're like, they've got all these hits, and that's when everyone's getting on board and they're like, yeah, I fucking love them. They're great. I love
Yeah.
that song. I love that song. I love that song. And then they reach this certain level of fame where they don't want to play their hits anymore, like
Yep.
in concerts and stuff.
Yes.
And then they transcend that level of fame and they like become megastars, and then they appreciate their roots all over again, and they come
So
back and they play
true.
all the hits again because they know how much it means to their fans.
That's so true, honestly. I think that's why I love my leadership style, because I just don't move from that building the hit stage. Like I've built some great hits at TDP, as in not rock star type stuff, but like just, yeah, there's parts of just workplace culture hits that I've created that other people aren't doing. And I'm like, I'm never going to let this go. This is brilliant. It's so important. I was on LinkedIn. So we've been recruiting, and we had one role that had 300 plus applicants within 48 hours. It was overwhelming. So I took it offline because I just thought, if I keep this job ad live any longer, I'm going to detract from something that's really important to me. You spoke about appreciation. I individually reply to everyone that applies for a role at the Digital Picnic, and I'll never give that up. You and I met blogging, and I know for a fact that the reason why my readership grew to what it was I said from day one, if anyone comments, you freaking reply. Show some goddamn appreciation for the people that are building community with you. So the same goes for this role. Individually replied, yes, at some point there were some that moved further along in a short list. So the further along they got, the more individualized I was able to make a rejection message. But I hit everyone up. And when I posted about that on LinkedIn, some even questioned, they said, this isn't mathematically possible. And I just felt like saying, but you can't. You have to be careful with your words. But I was like, I don't think you understand autism. I'm never going to leave someone on red. It's not in me to do that. So I did reply, and I'm fast and I make it meaningful, and I'm good with words. It's my little skill. My autistic spin is people. So why would I leave anyone on red when my special interest is people? So I did, and I wasn't lying, despite some people questioning it on LinkedIn. I just thought, if you're here to question the honesty of this post, you do you, boo. But I'm gonna tell you that I've got screenshots and receipts to show what time I was finishing up with each message that got responded to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And honestly, it's so wild to me that some people just love to question like authenticity and integrity. It's like, well, that says more about you, that's what you're picking up on out of this post, and that's what you
true.
want to question. Okay, no worries. You should probably go and take a look in the mirror and sort some shit out over there. Um,
Yeah,
but also as somebody personally who, after I was made redundant from my full-time corporate job earlier
yeah.
this year, I applied for over 70 jobs and I got zero. And
Oh my gosh,
cannot
that's
tell
so
you.
extreme.
I I could
You,
probably count on one hand how many actual rejection emails I got to acknowledge thank you for applying for this job. Unfortunately, you're not moving forward, versus how much silence I received in response. And I can just tell you, being on the receiving end of that, like I know how much you taking the time to send that email to somebody to say thanks for taking the time to apply, but unfortunately, you're not going to be moving forward with us. I know how much that would mean to them, even though it would hurt and it would be disappointing. That acknowledgement is
yes.
just, that is such a fucking sign of respect and just being a decent human with a kind heart.
Imagine going through that. You can name that many applications that didn't get a response. I don't
Yeah.
want to be the 71st to not respond. It's just removing the human from resourcing. And uh, that makes me feel literally physically sick to my stomach. Also, imagine fumbling a U. Uh,
They're Jealous.
not hitting proceed on you. I can't wrap my
Honestly, I
eyeballs
know
around it.
it was such a
Oh,
wild time. Like that was over a 6 month period this year.
wow.
And I honestly was so demoralized and I felt
Yeah.
like there was something very wrong with me until I recognized, finally, I got to a stage where I could recognize that the universe was keeping those doors very, very closed for me so that I would keep walking down the hallway
Mm,
until I walked through the right door and finally like the right pieces of the puzzle clicked into place for me, which has only
incredible.
just happened in like the last month. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm grateful for that. But I would never, and it's just such confirmation that I would never ever treat anybody like that. And I'm so glad that you wouldn't either, and it doesn't come as a surprise to me whatsoever.
no.
But
Can't.
other things that you were proud of,
Yeah.
what are you most proud of achieving this year? Let's start with TDP. Let's start with the digital picnic, and then I want to move to you personally.
Okay. The digital picnic, the thing I'm most proud of has been getting our culture into an even stronger spot, to be so honest with you. I'm 11 years in now, and I've heard this, sort of description where organizations, all of them, we naturally all drift towards toxicity. The body itself moves towards a disease state. So, of course, workplaces will as well. And that's not something I take lightly because I don't want to accept diseased state for something that I'm so proud of having built. However, we mentioned frogs before. You only need to add 1 to 2 frogs to get towards that spot. And so I would say, parts of this year I was sort of becoming a little conscious of some entitlement creep. And I just wanted to be really careful of that. And we have been, and we've had honest conversations, radical candor, sometimes a couple of hard decisions, not from our end, actually. Sometimes when you name and set new non negotiables, people just honestly see themselves out because they're like, oh, um, this isn't going to be something that I'm chasing at this point. Some people happily, if you want to stay in a comfort zone, go for it, but we're here for the growth zone. And so I'm just really proud because parts of it, Sonia, it just felt so hard. Like it challenged me because I really do have unwavering belief in people, and it's hard to. You can't maintain unwavering. You have to settle for belief in people because unwavering can push it to a kind of toxic spot. And you'll end up in that disease state, whether you like it or not. So that's what I'm most proud of because honestly, where I'm at right now, being November, I couldn't be more proud of how I've steered away from that disease state for 11 years straight, but especially this year. And it's something that you can never stop doing. You can't take your eyes off this. So that's professionally, I would say, my biggest achievement. There were times where I wondered, am I on the right track? But then you look at a Sunny in your team, and he is the culmination of every right decision I've made. Because I just think there were moments where I doubted, am I asking for too much? And he proves already that I was not. And I'm so grateful for him for that reason. Yeah.
Oh, that's so freaking beautiful. I love that. Like you have like the human culminations of every decision you've ever made in those 31
Yes.
people in your team. Like that's magic. That's magic. And we want turtles, not frogs. Let's be clear.
That's it. I'm here to swim with the turtles and not with the frogs.
I love it. I love it. And okay, so personally, what are you most proud of this year?
I, gosh, I think in January, parts of me would have felt ashamed for how I've not showed up in friendships or, things like that. But I'm actually just so proud of my resilience and just honestly sharing with friends. I love you so much, but you're going to see less of me this year, and the reasons why are dot dot dot. And I'm also just really proud of the fact that I found myself at age 42 with friends who are so safe that they haven't seen whatever I've not been able to give to them as my not being enough for them. One bad friendship year doesn't make a bad friend. And if anything, I've never felt more empathy from my friendship group because they know what I've gone up against this year medically and hormonally and reached points of almost absolute depletion, and they're still just they just love me so much and I love them so much in return. So I think I'm just really proud of how I've been able to show up this year and preserve my energy for what needed it the most, and I think 2026 is genuinely going to be a really incredible year for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I feel that and believe that so much. And I think that's the true definition of friendship, right? Is that you can just be like, this is what my life looks like right now. This is the season that I'm in. This is what is being demanded of me, or this is where I'm being called or pulled or needing to put my focus and energy and time to.
Yes.
And I still love you
Yep.
and I will always be here for you and our connection is alive as ever
Yep.
and it's just going to look like this for a while.
Yep.
And for someone else to say I love you too, I'm in your corner always. I'm here to cheer you on and support you and love you through everything. That's a friend.
Yeah, honestly, you can't flick people off over one bad season. Oh, not this hasn't been a bad season, but what I
Not
mean is
even hard. No, hard, tough,
hard.
full,
I've got
busy,
less
whatever.
availability for you, but it doesn't mean I
Yeah.
don't love you,
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I guess like people talk about cancel culture, but I think people are canceling their own friends a little too soon and a little too fast. So I feel really grateful that I must have given so much love that I got an abundance of that in return this year when I couldn't have needed it more, So I don't know. I feel like I look at my friendship circle and it's feeling very sisterhood of the traveling pants. Like I think they're my lifers, So, I'll retire with these women. I will, just do the things that I don't know, every different decade, and I'm really looking forward to that. I deserve it. They deserve it. We are really good women to each other.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that so much. That is like literally like redefining and reclaiming what true friendship is all
Yep.
about. So
Yep.
good. And not being available for anything else. Like just that is setting a standard, you know?
Yeah.
Like boundaries are great and they're useful in certain circumstances, but like a conversation I had with another guest,
Mm.
standards are what you claim for yourself from an empowered state. And I
Yes.
love that you've just been setting these standards for yourself
Yeah.
throughout the course of this year. Like it's
Yep.
magnificent. So
Yep.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And honestly, that like you are so inspiring to me for like a million different reasons. And one of them is like you are so innovative, but in the most humane and meaningful kind of way. I hope that makes sense.
No, it
Um,
does.
because like everything that you choose to implement or give your energy to or your attention to or create has holds such depth of meaning to it and it has people at the center of it. And I
Yep.
know that you and TDP created like a world first
Yeah.
policy. Can you tell us about that? Because that's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it. I think it feels simple when you've got a solutions oriented brain, right? And I can't believe the media attention we clocked for it because I just feel like the little girl from that old El Paso ad where people are deciding between a burrito and a taco and they're like, can't we just have both? I feel like that summarizes my whole life where I'm like, just have both, you know? So, yeah, I'm a really proud autistic woman. I was raised by a really brilliant solo parent autistic dad who, yes, absolutely, it's all over Google. We grew up well below the poverty line, but I've never focused on that because I had the generational wealth of a calm, regulated parent slash dad slash Shane, and so I've just grown up in a really neuro-affirming home that has never pathologized my autistic culture and identity. I don't know what it's like to pathologize it. I can't relate, to be so honest with you. And we've never used the word ASD because for me, there's nothing disordered about my brain. And you just referenced some of my strengths just seconds ago, So why would I call that a disorder? So I'm wired for solutions orientation. I know how helpful it's been for me to receive a formal diagnosis to truly understand, make peace with myself. It's why I've got the friendship circle that I have now because I understand myself so well. And I want that for people on my team. And so I decided, all right, it's a privileged position to be in to be able to drop 2.5 to 5K for a formal diagnosis. And for a lot of my team, they've probably dropped 3 times that amount on their children, for example, and there's nothing left for them. And that's what we were recognizing. So they said, I know I am, but I don't need the piece of paper. And I'm like, I think you do. actually, you know, because you are able to show up so well professionally when you fully understand your brain and life. Gosh, I care about that too. So we said, let's pay for the diagnoses, if anyone's curious. Even if it's a no, at least you know. And so that's what we did. And I didn't realize that it was a world first policy. And so the media obviously really gathered around that. They have said things like we're paying for autistic and ADHD diagnoses, but that's just not true. It's the whole neurodivergent umbrella. It's dyslexia, dyscalculia, you know, whatever is within the neurodivergency umbrella will cover the cost of an assessment if you're curious and feel like it would be helpful to receive that. They don't have to share it with us. They can keep everything that's within that, you know, however many pieces of paper to themselves. But there's usually a little section that says, here's the accommodations that this person might need from their employer, and then we just get around it. You know, that's all I care about within their document. However, I have seen that it has been transformative for the people on my team, you know, and I'm clocking retention 3 times as long as people within our industry. Like, I'm making a difference and I'm helping people come home to themselves. And so maybe they feel like there's a sense of home at work because of that. And I just feel really proud to help people not pathologize everything and just come home to themselves if that's what that looks like for them.
Absolutely. And I just think like one of my biggest life philosophies is the most powerful tool you can have in this lifetime is knowing yourself. Like
Yes.
truly deeply knowing yourself. And like you said, like if you feel like why is this different for me? Why do I see things so differently? Why do I feel so different? Like
Yeah.
there's obviously a reason for it, and if you can give them that access, the means and the access to be able to get whatever diagnosis they you know need or think they need or whatever it is, like the answer, it's like whether it's a yes or a no, like is irregardless. It's like you get to know, okay, this is why I feel this way, or this is
Yeah.
why I react this way or think this way or whatever it is, and that just like gives like giving somebody a sense of peace
Yes.
about who they are.
It's
Just
the
like
peace.
it's like the piece of knowing yourself and like leads to self-acceptance, which
Yeah.
leads to self-love, which means that somebody is completely in such a good place within themselves that they
Mm,
are bringing the best of themselves every day because they know themselves, they've accepted
yeah.
it, and they're learning to love it, or they love it immediately because it's like, oh, it all makes sense. Okay,
Yes.
cool. I'm this
Honestly.
color of the rainbow, or I'm this texture,
Yes.
or I'm this like whatever. Yeah.
It's exactly that. I feel so proud every time someone seeks that out within our workplace. And yeah, I know actually that they're not going to get that elsewhere. So what a gift to be able to give to a person. And yeah, I feel really proud. It's one policy I'm super proud of.
Oh, it's so good. It's so, so good.
Yes.
Okay, so one of my most favorite posts of yours recently was you talking on video about your own predictions for yourself and for
Uh,
TDP for
yes.
2025. What came true, what didn't happen, and fuck me, you're so funny. Like you're really funny, and I really enjoyed that. I felt like I was watching like my favorite TV show in that
Oh.
moment. It was so good. So I'm curious. What what would be, if you're keen to share, if you're comfortable sharing,
Yeah.
if you're ready,
Yep.
what would be a couple of things or even just one thing that you are predicting for yourself personally and for TDP in 2026?
Yeah, I think next year, okay, this is almost personal and professional. I actually think next year is going to be the big break that people talk about, like really big. I don't know what it is. I can't even predict it, but I just know I'm going to get to the end of 2026 saying, oh my God, something big breakish happened that created a big break for me. I've had a couple of them at the digital picnic, but I'm predicting there's going to be a really big one next year. So I just can't shake it. I don't know what it is, when it will happen. And I feel hopeful just saying that out loud, you know? So yeah, that's that. Personally, I guess, really personally, Honestly, I just think I'm hitting a really, probably one of my favorite seasons as a parent. I was built for raising anything from toddler and beyond baby. I'm not great, to be so honest with you. I don't understand the crying, why, like it's just, and also it's really hard for me as an autistic woman. It's sensory, I just, my God, please don't take me back there, but I think I survived, but I wouldn't say I thrived, but toddlerhood and beyond, I'm pretty good. Teens is my absolute strength because I'm not just autistic, but I'm a PDA woman. So some call it, demand avoidant, like pathologically demand avoidant. I would prefer to say just a persistent drive for autonomy. I don't believe in putting demands in places that are just not necessary. And so that's really good for a teenager's nervous system. And so I have a really incredible relationship with my teenage children, and I'm really grateful. And it's not the norm. And I think if I were to share about it online, you'd have parenting experts picking it apart, saying you're not allowed to be your kids' friends. Honestly, fuck you. Like, that is exactly what I'm going to be. I grew up without a mum. I am absolutely going to be friend, lover, guide, mentor, coach. Like, I don't need just the title of parent. I'm going to take them all. So I think next year will probably be just one of the strongest years I'll probably have as mother to my children. Like, I'm taking them both through a really important spot in their little lives at the moment. It's going to be more important next year. And I'm going to be able to do that well because of the strength I have with regards to the relationship I have with my kids.
That is bloody beautiful. I love that. I love that so much. And yeah, as someone who grew up in, yeah, an emotionally volatile household and estrangement from my parents for well over a decade, and then like now I've just got a very sort of like light touch, I guess you could say,
Yep.
relationship with my parents. Like that's the idea I miss the most is like the idea of family. And like, I'm not going to be a mother in this lifetime, but if I had become a mum,
Yep.
I would want to be the type of mum that you are talking to, that you are taking ownership of, and you are like being for your kids, because yeah, they don't just need a guide or an authoritative figure in their
No.
lives. They need a mate. They need a best mate they can talk to about anything. They need to know that like they've got somebody in their corner no matter what. And like the fact that you are their mum and you brought them into this world and you helped create them is like that
Yes.
only adds to that depth and that
Yeah.
strength of having that BFF. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
so good.
BFF. There's nothing wrong with that because you can be the
No.
BFF, but they've also seen me be the bodyguard. Like, I'm not strict, but if someone screws my kids over, it's game on. Like
Yeah.
this awful man in Scotland, I think it was 2023, I can't quite remember, but he took video of my daughter without her consent and was filming from like the bottom up. And I just said, no. And he just basically told me to stick it. So I just grabbed his camera, I smashed it, I snapped the SD card in half because no one messes with my babies, like, so I can be the BFF, but they've also seen me swoop into a role that they don't see me play often. But if my daughter's, you know, um, security was endangered, then I'm like, hey, meet a version of your mum you've probably not seen much in this lifetime. I am about to snap this man's SD card, so I'm sorry about that, and I'm sorry that you have to witness this.
He's lucky it was just his SD card,
That's
okay?
what, that's what my
Okay.
husband said. He was like, gosh, he's lucky he only had his SD card snapped.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And that's you just like stepping into the
Yep.
villain when you need to, and like being the badass and
Yeah.
the protectress and the mama bear and whatever. Like, of course, like that's in us inherently, like as women, as human beings with a kind heart, like that's what we're gonna do for anyone we love. And I love that so much. Like, oh, Cherie, you're just like the most amazing human being, parent, everything. Like I just so
Oh,
grateful that the blogging world brought us together, and like
same,
yeah, and we've
same.
just been able to watch each other. Like, oh, it just feels so funny, doesn't it? Like
I
we're women in
know.
our 40s now.
Yep. Yep. And two women who connected over a love and of writing and both of us just an absolute talent for it as well. Like I've always respected your brain and I just love that we keep moving through this world together and colliding and just it feels good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
really special and really lovely. And I love that our souls chose each other in this
Yeah.
lifetime to be friends. It's
Same.
so cool. So
Yep.
fucking cool. God, we're good.
We
Um,
are.
okay. One last question before I let you go, even though I could talk to you forever. Um, So I believe within us exists the essence, the spirit of the Creatress, which is why I've called this podcast series
Yeah.
the Creatress Tapes. And I would love to know from you if there's a woman listening right now who just needs a word of encouragement to really tap into her inner creatress a little bit more, bring her out, bring her to the forefront just a little bit more. What would you most want her to know?
I I would want that woman to accept her villain status. I don't think enough of us do. We're programmed from the start because of gender to not let the villain enter the chat. And I just want all women to know that life feels so much better when you allow the villain to start coming through because we really, it's not a great word, is it? But the truth is, there's so much kind and villain status. And I've realized now, I wish I'd let her enter my world sooner. And probably given her a name and just normalized that kind is sometimes villain. So yeah, I think if women could reclaim a little bit of that or get around it earlier, I'm certainly guiding my daughter to. It's okay to be disliked. You don't have to be loved by everyone. It's just how exhausting would that be anyway? And I think my dad recently told me, like he said, if you think about it, the oh my gosh, what are they? The conductors, right? And they're facing the people who are making the music. They're not looking at the audience because if they look at the audience, the music gets destroyed. And I just feel like we could take so much of that, within our lives. Like we focus too much on the audience and then the music gets destroyed. So face the band, like face the musicians, and just make your life one really beautiful song. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. Love that. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for you and 2026. I do. I feel so strongly it's going to be a massive year for you in the best way
Me too.
because, you've moved through 2025 and everything it has held for you with such grace and integrity because that's just who you are. And I feel like the universe is going to just like reward you a thousandfold next year. And it's going to
Thank
be,
you.
I'm just going to be sitting back with my popcorn, champagne, toasting to you, honey. Because like
I love that.
all good things need to
Thank
come your way
you.
and deserve to come your way and TDP's way as well. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for being on the Creatress tapes with me, my love.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.